Mom and Dad refused to accept my new husband and secretly plotted to ruin my marriage with my ex-husband. So I called the cops on them. I got married to my senior in office. To be very honest, I was attracted to this person at the very first sight. I was very hesitant to start an unofficial conversation, and it took me a couple of months to get comfortable around him. He seemed a very kind and soft-spoken person who would attract anyone like a magnet. He was a true gentleman. My other female colleagues also had a crush on him, and that was evident because they were always talking about him. I was very shy and had no courage to even talk to him. The thought that I was not the only one who was crushing over him and he had several choices suppressed my feelings even more. Our staff had to travel to another city for a conference, and this was when we got to interact properly for the first time. I was already in love with him. I took his number from the colleagues group chat and texted him to ask something regarding work. We started talking after that, and every day I felt like I was getting crazier for him. We soon started dating and spent a lot of time with each other. I was so overwhelmed by the fact that he chose me over so many other options he had. I proposed to him as I could not wait to marry him, and he instantly agreed. I made him meet my family, and my mom was amazed to see my choice. My whole family was impressed by this gentleman. Families got together, the wedding was planned, and we got married just after dating for a year and a half. The real story began after I had married that person and had started living with him. I found out that he was a narcissist and wanted everything according to him. He would direct what would be cooked for dinner, what would I wear to the office, how would I behave with certain people, and literally every single thing. I would get very irritated and we had argued a lot. He was a gymmer and of course a fitness freak. He told me that I was supposed to work out an hour a day. I told him that after coming back from work, there was no chance to work out as I would be too exhausted. He told me that I could work out early in the morning before leaving for the office. He also used to follow a diet plan and expected me to do the same. It felt like I had been transferred to a training center. I tried to adjust to his lifestyle, but he was a perfection-obsessed person and would never get satisfied no matter how much effort I would put in. Sometimes I got so pissed off and would yell at him, but he would very calmly say that it was for my own good. I went to visit my mom and discussed this situation with her. She told me that there was nothing wrong as he was not telling me to do anything that would harm me. Maybe she was not the one who was suffering, so she took it lightly, but my husband had hypnotized my family by sending them expensive gifts and being a pure gentleman around them. My dad bought a dress for me that he had bought while he was on an official trip to Japan. It was a knee-length dress, navy blue colored, and had a floral print. To be honest, I was obsessing over it and could not wait to try it on. We were supposed to go for a dinner date when I chose to wear that dress and never knew how it would trigger my husband. I got ready and walked out of the room when I saw my husband looking at me horrified. He told me that the dress was gross and I wanted to embarrass him. I asked him to be gentle and think before speaking because it was a gift from my dad and I would not take any disrespect. He told me that my family had a cheap choice and it did not get any better even when he had sent a lot of expensive gifts. I was shocked to hear that and told him that I was not staying at any cost. I packed my stuff and was leaving his house. He said that we could talk and sort things out, to which I replied that he could simply find someone as psychotic as he was and leave me alone. I have returned to my parents' house and my family is not glad at all. According to them, I have just left because I was being egoistic. Update 1. My husband tried to persuade me and sort things out, but I knew he would never change. I was determined to get a divorce as I could not survive under such surveillance. I had told my family that I was an established woman and I had no reasons to submit to that egomaniac. My family was not pleased with all and I could not spend my energy making them understand a simple situation. I rented an apartment and moved out. My husband tried his best to convince me to get back. He would send flowers and letters saying sorry to my apartment because my dumb family had given him my address. I filed for divorce soon after that and he could not take that as he felt like he was being disrespected. He took this matter to social media and started crap posting about me. He would say that I was too cheap to adjust to his perfection-based lifestyle, so I had no other option but to run away. I posted a video narrating the whole story and said in the end that no matter what he would do, I was not backing off from divorce. My family was against this decision and told me that I was losing a gem because I could not handle my ego. I paid no heed to them and divorced my egocentric darling husband. Update 2. I am here with an update after 2 years of my divorce, guys. I had to switch my job as my ex-husband was still working there and I could not see his face daily. I got hired instantly as I had great work experience. It seemed that a new life had started from scratch. My family stayed upset with me and I had left them on their own thinking that they would be alright as the time would pass. The update that I had is that I came across this person through Facebook. We had a lot of mutual friends, so I added him up and we soon started talking. He was such a down-to-earth person and a great listener. He worked as an assistant director in a company. We hung out and spent a lot of time together. A month or two just passed and we were already dating. I was scared to get married and thought I was again obsessing over someone who might turn out to be someone else. My family was not at all happy knowing that I was dating someone. My mom called and asked if I was just going to jump from guy to guy or would I get settled down with someone. I told her that I would never let anyone take control of my life and would do whatever suited me. Update 3, guys, you may think I just rush things and do not take my time, but my boyfriend had proposed to me and could I refuse him? We got married and only his family attended as my family was too stubborn to support their daughter. I had this idea that it might be that my family was still in contact with my ex-husband who was dictating them to act a certain way because he could not digest the fact that I had moved on and was living my life. I did not even bother to contact my family afterward. My husband had always been such a support and we were too busy planning our honeymoon that we barely cared about my family. After we had returned from our honeymoon, my family called me and apologized for not attending my wedding and acting like they did not care. I told them that it was okay, and being a family, they should have accepted and respected my decisions. My mom told me that she wanted to invite us for dinner and would love it if we would accept her invitation. I was a bit surprised but told her that we would be there. I discussed this with my husband and told him that I was feeling like there was something wrong. He told me that I was just overthinking and at the end of the day, it was family and they had to accept us. Update 4, my younger sister called me 2 days later and told me that I should never appear at that dinner. I got worried and asked her what was wrong, to which she said that my mom had invited my ex-husband as well just to create a scene, hoping that my husband would leave me. I asked her what exactly my mom was doing. She told me that my mom had planned that she would blame me and say that I had invited my ex-husband because I was still not over him and wanted to reconcile. I was shocked to know this and could not believe what I was getting to know. My sister also told me that my ex-husband had never stopped sending them gifts and was still my parents' favorite. I called my husband and told him the whole story. I told him that I had to plan something once we get back from the office. I called the police and reported suspicious movements at my parents' place. I also told them that they were exchanging something suspicious wrapped up as gifts. Police raided my parents' house just when we were supposed to arrive for dinner. They did not find anything but, of course, my parents were embarrassed and learned a lesson. Context: I work in a restaurant. If a server takes an allergy order, a manager must review and finish taking said order and inform the kitchen of the nature of the allergy. In my many years here, this is the first time this has happened. Mother informs server and manager that she has an allergy. I can't remember what it was now as it was a few days ago. Manager informs the kitchen and we begin to prep to make the order as instructed. We get out the allergy utensils, clean down, get out food substitutes, etc. Basically go through the whole allergy procedure to make sure there is no cross-contamination and no way this customer could have an allergic reaction. The server takes the food to the table and the manager takes the allergy dish, standard procedure in our restaurant. 10 minutes later, the father informs us that the mother is having an allergic reaction to the food. A second manager comes into the kitchen and screams at us, wanting to know what went wrong with the order, and we talk her through what we did and how we were certain there was no cross-contamination and the allergy procedure was properly followed and she could check the CCTV to make sure what we were saying was true. The manager took me and the other chef who worked on the meal to the table to find out what went wrong. Chef: we followed everything to the letter. There was no way there could have been any allergen in the meal. Father: there wasn't in hers but in our son's. Chef: I'm sorry? Father: do you not think my wife wouldn't have tried our son's food to make sure it was good? You should have thought about that before making his food with the allergen. If we get an allergy, we will ask if the table wouldn't mind those allergens being removed from their dishes. However, this was not the case for these tables, as mother and manager had had that conversation and she said no. The first manager, who took the order and dish, informs us later on that the father was talking about suing the restaurant for this incident. So are we the asshole and responsible for this? Despite going through a rigorous process and making sure her food had no allergens and she declined the allergens to be taken out of her family's food. I, 20, female, was adopted when I was 16 by my half-brother and his wife, who were in their late 30s at the time. They already had 6 children when they adopted me, but it was never an issue. They have treated me like their own kid since they met me and later adopted me, so did all their other kids. Except for one, their golden child, who is only 4 months older than me. We will call him Chad. Chad has always been an insensitive a-hole to literally everyone, including our other siblings. He would literally fist fight our older sister, say horrible and mean things to everyone and get away with it. He also had extreme anger issues that would cause broken doors, holes in walls, etc. He also got to do everything me and my sister were never able to do, got a free car, went out at night, etc. When we were still in school together during high school, he got up in front of our whole class year and told everyone I wasn't his sister and never would be. He then told me in front of his friends that I would never be a part of his family and I should just get over it and walk off. This was not a one and done thing, he would keep doing this up until he moved out and I stopped seeing/talking to him. Golden Boy once again got the limelight of the family after he got married right after high school, moved out to his wife's family's house, and then had a baby, the first grandbaby. Since this has happened I have stayed as far away from him as possible, only seeing him for family pictures every year because our mother asks. Recently I decided to come forward to our mom about what he said and did, because she was upset about how I was distancing myself from him. She basically pulled the "that's still my kid and it's my first grandbaby" card as the reason she wasn't going to be upset over it. I didn't really care, to be honest. I knew it wasn't going to change her mind on her kid anyway. Out of nowhere, I got a message begging me to come to babysit for them because you're the only one who can deal with these kinds of babies because no one will help. Apparently they are peeing their kid off of breastfeeding and the baby is extremely clingy because of that, and the fact that the mom is a germ phobia who has basically isolated this kid since birth. It literal has only been held by like 6 people since it's been born. They know I don't sleep for the most part because I'm an insomniac with ADHD, and I also am not bothered by crying. For some reason, I can sit for hours with the baby crying and it doesn't bother me. I can't tell if that's a blessing or a curse at this point. My sister is mad at me because apparently they haven't asked anyone else in the family for help but me, and everyone wants to go see this baby. Am I for not wanting to be around or take care of the baby because its father said that I'm not a part of his family? New, I posted an update on the situation on my profile because it was too long. Go read if you want to know what I ended up doing.